niggas get locked up. And when they come home, it's Mink, Coach, and Cristal. This Al Capone, we play the game like monsters. Oliver Stone flicks, based on a true story. It's Nori, and all of my niggas buck for me. The projects love me. It feel good to have love in the hood. And I ain't got to buy weed, cause my credit is good.
What is that? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. This is going to be another episode in my fragrance making series. You guys know I've been doing these for a while now. And, believe it or not, I get a lot of messages on Facebook from people who are trying to make their own fragrances, and they're asking me for advice and whatnot. And by no means am I an expert. I don't even have something that I really like yet as a formula, but I'm happy to sort of answer those questions. And a couple questions that I got are sort of like, what's your process? And process is definitely different for every single person, but I thought I'd talk to sort of the way I approach making fragrances, the time I spend on it, how I sort of manage it in today's video. Before I do that, I did just want to show you my latest sort of order of materials, and this is from Eden Botanicals, which is my favorite natural supplier. And it doesn't look like much, but this is about $150 worth of materials. So what I picked up was some Atlas cedarwood. I have Texas cedarwood, and Texas cedarwood smells very much like cedar, like the actual wood, whereas Atlas has a way more sort of warm smell. It doesn't smell as woody. Some people say it smells like warm skin, which I really agree with. It's sort of a sensual wood. It's a beautiful material. It's not expensive. It's the cheapest thing on this table, and I recommend anyone pick that one up. Now this one with the burnt label is actually Oak Moss Absolute, and the reason why the label looks like that is because this came as a solid mass. It was a paste, and I put it in my microwave, and I put it in for a bit too long, and well, thankfully the oak moss didn't burn the label brown. So you got to be super careful. I think I probably had it in for a second or two too long. The label did darken in the microwave. It darkened as soon as I took it out. So oak moss melted fine. It was a little hot, but the label burned. So be super careful. It's probably better to do it in warm water, which is what I usually do. But this was really thick, solid paste. Oak moss, real oak moss, by the way, is just amazing smelling. I have synthetic oak moss, and there really is no comparison. I do like the synthetic oak moss, but this one is just so gorgeous. This is Jasmine. This is Jasmine Absolute from India. Again, very expensive. You can see why I have so little of it. I just want to see how I like it. There's many different jasmines available, many different roses, and so I wanted to see how I like this before I invest in more. Really, really nice. This is Neroli from France. Again, also these little bottles. I think the jasmine's $30. I think the Neroli was $20. And then we've got this. This is Orris butter, 15% iron. So that's real iris note right there. That's where iris notes come from. You can get Orris butter from this place with 8% iron. Or 15%. The 15% is more expensive, but irons are actually what gives Orris the smell of iris. And as you can see in there, this is another material. This is not a liquid. This is a solid, like a waxy mass. So this will also be something that has to be warmed before I pour it. And I'm really not sure how this smells yet because I haven't warmed it up yet. And then we also have the most expensive material I've ever bought. This is Rose Otto from Turkey. It's the second most expensive rose material on the website, on Eden Botanicals. Otto is the most expensive also form of rose. There's Absolute, Concrete. Otto is the essential oil, and this is the Turkish. The more expensive, and it's not that much more expensive, rose is from Bulgaria. I'll have to get some of that down the line and see the difference between that. But I'm working on a fragrance for my mother, a floral fragrance, and I want to use a real rose. I have a couple of different synthetic roses, and I want to use real rose and real jasmine. Good jasmine and good rose in those fragrances. And then I got some samples of some super, well, not all of them are expensive, but some expensive materials. This is Ambret seed, which is super expensive. You can see just that little amount is like $6. And this is very sort of warm and gamey and animalic. It's really, really nice. I definitely have to get more of this. This is Black Currant Bud Absolute, which is a little bit, you can see how dark and sticky that is. It's a little bit animalic. Green, a little minty, really, really, very, very gorgeous. Reminds me, if you smell, what's the fragrance? You know, the one, Vagabond Prince. You know, that their black currant fragrance in Enchanted Forest. You smell that and you'll know what Black Currant Absolute smells like. And then this is unbelievably expensive. I believe an ml is like $80 to $100. This is Agarwood or Oudga CO2. This is from Assam in India. Look at how thick that stuff is. It's like paste. It is animalic. It's funky. It's barnyard. And it is freaking gorgeous. Oh, I will definitely be getting some of this and making a fragrance with real oud. I have synthetic ouds, and I have another real oud that's not as expensive as this one, and this one from Assam, this thick Indian oud, is just something that I've never smelled before. It smells like what Zershoff uses in their oud stars on. So just wanted to go through those quickly. Now, as far as my process, what's my process? Well, just so you guys know, basically, I spend a little bit of time every day making fragrance or working on fragrances. Monday through Thursday is when I'm really busy, and what I'll do Monday through Thursday is just take one of these materials that I have and I'll dilute it. Because I don't dilute every single thing, so as of right now, I probably have 250 materials. I'd say I have 160 diluted, so I need to dilute 90. So Monday through Thursday, I'll pick a material. When I get home from work, I'll take that material, I'll research it, I'll find out what I need to dilute it to. I'll take it and I'll say, so like, here's just an example. This is tree moss, which is sort of a substitute for oak moss. So I'll take that, I'll see what people recommend it gets diluted down to. I'll dilute it down to 10. So tree moss 10%. I do that, and then once it's diluted, I let it sit for a little bit. I get a test strip, I stick it in, I put it on this clip, and then for a couple hours, I write notes on it. How long does it last? What does it smell like? All that good stuff. And that's what I spend time doing. That's what I'll do Monday through Thursday, pick a different material and learn it. And then when I'm done and I sort of feel like, okay, I get how this material is, I'll go to all my diluted materials, I will mix them all up, and I will blindly try to identify 5 of them in a row. And if I can't do 5, I have to start over. So if I go, okay, this is Givaudan Rose, this is a Neroli Accord, this is a Oud Accord that I made, and then the 4th one I say this is lime and it's really lemon, I start over until I can get 5 in a row. And then if I get 5 in a row, I keep going and see how many I can get in a row. No matter what time I get home, I always dedicate at least an hour or so to do those things. So that's sort of Monday through Thursday, my process. Fridays, what I spend time doing is working on an accord. And, an accord is when you take a bunch of notes and you sort of make a chord. And I make very conventional accords, like amber accords and citrus accords. And then for fragrances I'm working on, I make some bugged out accords. Like I'm working on a Bruno Magli leather accord. I'm working on an RC Cola accord. I'm working on a De Noble cigar accord. I'm working on a Philly Blunt accord, marijuana accord. But then, as I said, very conventional ones, Lily of the Valley, lilac accords. And what I'll do is one Friday, I'll work on one that I'm already working on. So like, I'm doing as I said, an RC Cola accord. Well, I'm on my 3rd iteration of that. I'll smell it and I'll go, gee, I used too much lime in this one. I used too much clove. I used too much orange. The cinnamon's too much in this one. How do I fix it? And then I keep going and going and going, and I really haven't finished anything yet. Maybe 2 accords I feel like are good enough to use in an actual fragrance. So one week I'll work on tightening up an accord, and then the next Friday I'll work on a new accord. So like an example is last week I did a special accord I'm working on called Tennis Root, which is a fictional material from a movie called Rosemary's Baby for a fragrance, a darker fragrance I'm working on, sort of a horror themed fragrance. And then this week I sort of refined another fragrance I'm working on. I'm working on a fragrance to smell like a Louisville Slugger bat. You know, a wood bat, sort of with pine tar on it. So I sort of tried to get the proportions right on that, so that the wood smell would be in proportion with the pine smell. So for over the course of a month, I'll spend 2 weeks, 2 Fridays working on new accords, 2 Fridays fixing accords. Then on Saturdays and Sundays for the week, I actually work on fragrances, and it's the same deal. On Saturdays, I try something new. I say, let's try to make a new fragrance. And then on Sundays, I go into what I'm already working on, and I try to fix them. You know, I did that whole video on the first fragrance I ever tried to make, which was just the tip, and you know, I think I'm on iteration 10 of that right now. So that's sort of my Saturday, my Monday through Sunday. Every day I spend time working on fragrance. Every day I'm trying to smell fragrance and learn and test myself on them. Once a month I buy new materials. I try to cap myself at $100, $150. Just because, you know, once I get a formula down that I like, I'll buy in bulk. But for now, I'm just trying to get a very wide palette of materials and not buy too much of anything unless I feel like I need it. Like I bought a lot of Isoly Super. I've bought a lot of Hedione now, and Helionol, and musks, because they're notes that I like to use in most of my fragrances, and they're not that expensive, and I just feel like they're a good fixative, so they can slip in lots of different places. But I'm not going to buy a lot of like specialty stuff like Rose Otto, or Disneroli, or certainly Oud, unless I have a place for them and I know what I want to do with them. So I'm trying to cap it at $150. You know, also every month I have to buy these. I normally go through 35 a month, 30 a month, at least one a day. I have to buy lots of these test strips, of course, pipettes. I go through bags and bags of these, because once I use it, I throw them out. I don't want any cross contamination. So, and of course, Perfumer's alcohol, and then cleaning alcohol. So pricing adds up. So I try not to spend more than $150 a month on materials. Sometimes I go over a little bit, and that's sort of it. That's sort of it. But I'm definitely spending all of my time trying to get better at this. All my free time trying to get better at this. And my hope, guys, and maybe this is too ambitious, is that by the end of this year, 2017, I can produce and sell my first fragrance. I know what I want it to be. I haven't constructed it yet, but I'm constructing accords for it that I'm happy with so far. And the fragrance, I think, is probably going to be made up of like 4 accords and then some fixatives to give it some pop. You know, probably be 25 to 35 materials in it, I would say, probably about 35. And I think it'll be really, really good. It's a fragrance I wanted to do with other indie perfumers, but you know, it just never happened, and that's what really made me decide in the first place, I got to do this myself. So I am doing it myself now, and guys, it's a lot of work. It's hard. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, but I feel like Steve Jobs always used to say that the journey is the reward. And I believe that. I believe the journey will be the reward here. So that's it, guys. That's this month's journal. You know, next month maybe we'll look at some more materials. Maybe I can show you. Maybe we'll go through some of the accords I'm working on next month. Maybe that's a good idea. Let me know if that sounds good to you guys, or if there's something else you'd like me to speak about. Do another unboxing of stuff, because I'm going to have a big order coming from Perfumer's Apprentice. There's a list of about 120 materials I still feel like I'd like to add to my library. And even then, at that point, you know, you're not done, because just because I have patchouli, well, there's 15 different types of patchouli I could probably get from different types of patchouli from different suppliers. You know, same thing with rose and oud and labdanum and benzoin and myrrh. There's just all different types of these materials. There's like 20 different lavenders. And I definitely want to do a lavender fragrance. I know how I want to do it, but I'm keeping it under wraps because I don't think anyone's done it yet. So that's it, guys. Sorry this one is long. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you later this week with more videos, and I'll see you next month to do another Perfumer's Journal series. Again, guys, thank you all so much for watching. My name is Maximilian, and I must now. Peace.